What Jewish business thinking can teach the modern world. A story of mindset, culture, and long-term thinking. When people talk about business success, they often point to technology, capital, or luck. But history tells a more complex story. For centuries, one community, small in number, often excluded from power, land, and political protection, has consistently produced entrepreneurs, financiers, scientists, and innovators far beyond its size. This is not a story about secrets or shortcuts. It is a story about mindset, culture, and how people think about value. This is the story of Jewish business thinking, and what it can teach anyone trying to build something that lasts. A history written without safety nets. To understand Jewish business culture, you have to begin with history. For much of the last 2,000 years, Jewish communities lived as minorities across Europe, the Middle East, and later the Americas. They were often denied the right to own land, join guilds, or hold political office. In many places, they were restricted to specific neighborhoods, professions, or trades. Land could be taken, titles could be revoked, but knowledge could not be confiscated. This reality shaped everything. If your security cannot come from land or power, it must come from skills you can carry, relationships you can rebuild, and education that travels with you. Business, finance, trade, medicine, and scholarship became not just careers, but survival strategies. Education as the first investment. One of the most consistent patterns across Jewish communities is an intense focus on education. Not education as a status symbol, but education as a tool. In traditional Jewish culture, literacy was expected of everyone, not just elites. Boys were taught to read complex texts from a young age. Questioning, debate, and interpretation were encouraged rather than punished. This created a habit that translates directly into business. Read deeply. Ask hard questions. Argue ideas, not people. Look for hidden assumptions. In business terms, this means better risk assessment, sharper analysis, and less blind obedience to authority. When markets change, those who can learn fastest survive longest. Money as a tool, not a trophy. Another defining feature of Jewish business thinking is the relationship with money. Money is not treated as shameful, but it is also not worshipped. In many Jewish traditions, wealth is viewed as a responsibility. Money is something to manage wisely, grow carefully, and use ethically, not something to flaunt. This produces several practical behaviors. Reinvestment over consumption. Long-term planning over short-term display. Quiet wealth over visible wealth. In American business culture, this mindset appears repeatedly. Founders who live modestly while building massive enterprises. Families who prioritize ownership over luxury. And investors who think in decades, not quarters. Networks built on trust, not flash. When legal protections are weak, trust becomes currency. Historically, Jewish merchants relied heavily on family ties and community networks. Deals were often sealed with reputation rather than contracts. If someone broke trust, they were excluded, not just from one deal, but from the entire network. This created an early form of what modern business calls relationship capital. Today, this principle still applies. Do business with people who protect your name. Reputation compounds faster than money. Trust lowers transaction costs. In Silicon Valley, Wall Street, and global finance, you can still see how tightly knit networks move faster than isolated individuals. Risk is managed, not avoided. Contrary to stereotypes, Jewish business culture is not risk-averse. It is risk-aware. Centuries of instability taught a simple lesson. Never bet everything on one outcome. This is why diversification shows up again and again. Multiple income streams. Geographic spread. Skill diversity. Portfolio thinking. Even in modern finance, this approach defines many successful investment strategies. It's not about avoiding loss, it's about surviving loss. Because survival is the real game. Failure is data, not identity. In many cultures, failure defines who you are. In Jewish intellectual tradition, failure is often treated as part of the process. Debates recorded in ancient texts frequently include incorrect opinions preserved alongside correct ones, not erased. Why? Because the thinking process matters. Translated into business, this becomes: learn fast, adjust quickly, detach ego from outcome. Failure is not shameful if it produces insight. What is shameful is repeating the same mistake without learning. This mindset aligns closely with modern startup culture in the United States. Where iteration beats perfection. Ethics are not optional. One of the least discussed, but most important, elements of Jewish business thinking is ethics. In traditional teachings, business behavior is not separate from moral behavior. How you make money matters as much as how much you make. This creates internal limits. Profit cannot justify fraud. Success cannot excuse exploitation. Wealth must serve more than ego. This does not mean all Jewish businesses are ethical. No group is immune to misconduct. But culturally, the ideal remains clear. Money is not value neutral. In modern American business debates about corporate responsibility, sustainability, and stakeholder capitalism, these questions are more relevant than ever. Adaptation as a core skill. Perhaps the most powerful lesson is adaptability. Jewish communities have repeatedly had to rebuild, from exile, persecution, migration, and loss. Each time, survival depended on reading the environment accurately and adjusting quickly. This produces a business mindset that asks, what is changing right now? What skills still matter? Where is value moving next? In a world defined by technological disruption, automation, and global competition, this ability to adapt is not optional, it is essential. Lessons for the modern entrepreneur. You do not need to be Jewish to apply these principles. They are human strategies refined under pressure. Here's what modern business builders can take away. Invest in learning before investing in assets. Treat money as leverage, not identity. Build trust before scale. Manage risk instead of fearing it. Learn publicly. Fail intelligently. Anchor success in ethics. Stay adaptable, or become irrelevant. These ideas are not magic. They do not guarantee success. But history suggests they dramatically improve the odds. The real secret isn't secret at all. There is no hidden formula. No coded advantage. What people often call the Jewish business secret is really a collection of habits formed over centuries of necessity. When you remove privilege, only thinking remains. And thinking, done well, ethically, and consistently, compounds. In business, as in life, the strongest advantage is not what you own. It's how you think when conditions are uncertain.